Well, good evening and welcome to this Sunday, December 6th edition of the Island Stats Football Show. Joining me today are co-hosts Garrett Punchy Deal, Maceo Deal, and Coach Keita Robinson. We're waiting on Danica to join in. We're going to be joined shortly by the Bermuda National coach, Kyle Lightbourne. And at the bottom of the hour, we're going to be joined by the Somerset Eagles head coach in Jensen Rogers. But first of all, we only had one match played one Premier Division match and one First Division match played over the weekend. And unfortunately, today we saw the cancellation of all matches due to the health department asking the Bermuda Football Association to postpone all matches this weekend. And I guess meetings will be held to discuss what's next. But I don't want to get too much into the two games. We will get into those two games as the show goes on, but I want to make sure that we get an opportunity to speak with the head coach of the Bermuda national team. The Bermuda national team, due to the fact that the World Cup qualifiers now have dates. And we're going to bring in Mr. Kyle Lightbourne. First of all, good evening, Mr. Lightbourne.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Well, we CONCACAF, FIFA and CONCACAF have released dates for our World Cup qualifiers, which puts games right on top of each other. We knew that prior to them announcing it this time, but it looks like it's a little more congested and they've got to get through some rounds pretty quickly.
I'm actually having a difficult time hearing you. I was fine hearing you before I came on, but now it seems to be very difficult. It's a lot of feedback.
Okay. Turn your, if you can, turn your volume down just a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Okay, all right. Well, we do want to talk about the international commitments that we're going to have next year. We're doubling up in March and then June, I believe. Your thoughts on how quickly these games will turn around?
Yeah, it's going to be a very demanding schedule come next year. We have tried to introduce some new players into the pool. We had a get-together during the last international break, and we managed to train a couple of sessions and then have a match. And then we reviewed the match, showed it back to them on video. So we're doing a lot of work to try and get some of the on-island players up to speed to get them ready for our next adventures.
Yeah. Any thoughts on possible warm-up matches? Because, we haven't played an international match in some time. And believe it or not, a lot of other countries haven't either, but a lot of countries have. So in preparation.
I can't hear you again, Earl.
Okay. In preparation, any thoughts of warm-up matches?
Still can't hear you.
Okay.
The connection is different tonight. It's a little, mine's just challenging too, but I can hear better now.
I can hear you, Maceo, but I
you
can't
hear me.
Well, good. Maceo, ask the question I just asked him.
So it's coming from you. Any thoughts on potential warm-up matches to get the boys ready?
Yeah, obviously we're going to try and get some matches prior to this. The BFA have been working hard to try and get us possible 2 matches leading up to our first match will be against Canada. Right now that's what all my attention will be going to is the match versus Canada. So we just have to try and hopefully in the new year nail down two matches, and then we'll be able to go there, providing with COVID. COVID's a big problem right now for people traveling. So that's why in the last window, we felt that we need to get more of the on-island players up to speed, let them know what we do and how we play, and see who could make that transition into the national program.
Yeah. Out of this group, how many go through to the next round?
One. One go through, Canada being the favorites, and then toss up between the rest of us, I guess.
Are you kind of grateful that we play Canada first?
Yes and no. For the reasons that, you know, Canada wouldn't have an opportunity to scout us, other than what they're seeing prior to the Gold Cup, and it will be the same thing for us against Canada, where we wouldn't have an opportunity to see them, but you know, we typically know what to expect. I've been very impressed with Canada with their coach that they have. He used to be the coach for the women's team, but he's done a fantastic job with them, and they play some really good football.
Yeah. Any questions, guys?
Yeah, hi, Carl. How you doing? How are you? Can you hear me?
Sadil, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, good seeing you yesterday. Listen, I got a few questions for you. First of all, what direction is the national program in? Because when you say to me, when we're talking about the national program, and we're going to tournament, okay. What I have a problem with still the national organization here is what's the backup? What do you see in terms of, first of all, we're isolated. That's another thing. We don't play enough games. I know that for fact. What is happening after this? Because you got a lot of senior players that are in it. What is do we have on the 17 program, on the 21 program? What is really the direction of the national program for development so that the youngsters get into the next level? Because when you're saying to me that you got a group of Bermuda-based players, so I know, and I'll make a reference to this, sir. When I was coming along, they had when I was 17 years old, there was a program in place for me to get ready for the national program, playing at the under 17 level. Why is that this country doesn't have a program designed for mobility into the next program? Because I'm gonna tell you the truth first. This is what I'm saying. After Nikki Rouse, after the group that you have now, what's next on the agenda for this country for development? And who's going to be, that's what I'm saying. Because I'm going to tell you why. My grandson that's in England, and I'll bring this to you, said to me, what is the future of a Papa? What is the country doing for me? I'm playing it now. I'm playing I'm playing at this level, and the national program don't even know what I'm doing. And it's at West State Academy. So my point is, I'm just going to say to you, my problem with this, and I'm going to say this, so the problem is, what is the national program for development for the under 17s, for the under 19, under 21s? I ain't seen it.
Okay, let's first and foremost start. The BFA have 8 teams. 4 men's team, 4 women's team. Okay, under the senior team, under 20s, under 17s, under 15s. That's in men's and women. Okay, there is a gap between under 20s and senior level. But most of the players transition from under 20s to the senior level. Like, for instance, international football, it's a difficult situation. It's hard to get a hold of the players at all times. Even when we done that little stint with the players week before last or 3 weeks ago in the last window, the clubs don't really want to release the players. That's always an issue. Us I should say myself as a national coach, it's difficult to get everybody pulling the same way. Now, this is something that all countries have this problem. Actually, in Bermuda, we get to see our players more than any other country. Yeah, I can call a session like all we did and be able to get players. But that same week, we had the finals, November the 11th finals. And then that same week, Robin Hood was playing against Dandytown on the Saturday night. So the coaches were a little worried about their players being involved in that. We have to be look at how international football is operated. Let's look at how international football is operated. It's operated on a calendar. Yeah, you have 10 days with your players on international windows. It's just that we're in Bermuda. We think we have access to the players whenever. We try and do things according to how FIFA have their mandate. Okay, I can't call Nikki Rouse and have a training session, or anyone that's playing overseas at professional or semi-professional level without contacting their clubs, without doing all that. So we try and do the same thing in Bermuda. Let's not, we contacted all the clubs. Some clubs gave us feedback. Oh, we think this player's not ready, or what about this player? Because they see them week in, week out. I think everybody here in Bermuda is trying their best to make Bermuda better. Yeah, I've said this before. The easiest thing is to criticize. The hardest thing is to make it happen. Yeah, and I think we've been on an upward curve at the senior level over the last couple of years. Yes, the results may not be outstanding, but we're playing against some outstanding countries. That's something that we have to realize. We are not playing against minnows. We are playing against teams that are making the World Cup year in, year out. Yeah, Mexico, Panama. For instance, there's the two countries that we came up against. We will be coming up against Canada. We've had all these Zoom calls since the pandemic. Everyone at the association's been in different Zoom calls. And when I'm on a Zoom call, they all want to know what is Bermuda doing, because you guys have had success, not just with the senior team, had success with the women's team, with the under-20s, with the under-17s, the under-15s. This is something for a little island. We punch way above our weight. That's because we love the game and we want to do well. So the next time your grandson asks you what is going on in Bermuda, as far as if it wasn't for COVID, a lot of these teams would have been performing or getting ready to perform. This is something that's caused a lot of the countries to shut down. When we look at international level, everybody at our standard, other than take away the Mexico and USA, it ain't nobody else that's in CONCACAF region that's playing, other than Mexico and USA. So many countries are looking for matches right now. So we could only do so much because we're not, I would say, seem to be out there. That doesn't mean that we're not doing anything.
Okay. Thank you for coming, Carl. I mean, we need to create more platforms like this where we can have open discussions about the game and feedback about the direction of it. So, and also I appreciate the challenges that are going on for Bermuda for us to go to make it a step farther. But with that said, with that said, we know that we have a limited pool of players. We know, and for many years, even if we go back to your time in the national program, we're always got to a point where we're almost, and I think we all desire to move beyond almost to let's actually have done it, and I think we can even go back a bit to Uncle Ponch's generation a little bit. They probably had a little bit more success. Now going forward, the younger generation want to go past the older generation. They really want to go past, and they're exposed a lot. We know in other countries that in order to keep feeding into the national program, we need players. And we would see from my coach and I know you've been challenged with players that are capable of performing at the international level. I know that's a challenge for our country. What do we have to do better domestically to be able to feed better players into our national level to compete better at that level?
I mean, one of the things that stands out to me is for our league is the fitness side of it. The fitness for Bermuda football is the fitness levels are not what you need for international football. It's night and day. Like I say, I've said since I became a professional player, you realize that you're up against everyone that you play against is fit. In Bermuda, if I could take a team, I'll take North Village because I watched them play yesterday. You have like 4 or 5 guys that are at a certain level, and then you have 6 or 7 that's at a level that's nowhere near good enough to play at international football, or even they play because there's no one else to challenge them to play, in other words. So that's a challenge within itself when players that are deemed to be the best in Bermuda want to make that step up to international level. So when we were going in the Gold Cup, preparing for that, when we had all our meetings, my thing was to make all local players level of fitness higher than the professional players. And then, because I knew some of the professional players were out of season when they're coming. And when they came, they were surprised that all our local players were higher than all the players that were playing professional. And we have the data to show it. We have all the tapes. We have everything. So that made the international players, or the players that are playing professionally, step their game up, because the players that were amateur in Bermuda, we worked them that hard to get them and to that level of fitness. So most of it is fitness in Bermuda. Yes, fitness will turn into, you see bad technique because of lack of fitness. You see so many different things because of bad fitness. And that would be my biggest criticism of our league in Bermuda. It's not that some of the players are not good enough. It's just that they're not fit enough.
Good evening, Gaff. I am on the inside, obviously, so I see the work that you're doing. To piggyback on Macio's question, though, do we feel that players aren't even willing to get in shape because A, they're going to make their club team great because there's no one to challenge them? B, is there a lack of passion? Have we lost the passion to play football in this country? Because A, they think that they're not going to make the national team anyway, so it's just something for them to do. I think that our players are. I've been out and I see certain players. One player comes to mind. I see in the street, Liam Evans. I know no one's telling Liam to go for a run. do our players lack the passion to even want to be in shape to make the team? Do you, in your coaching capacity? I was excited. I saw all those numbers up at the stadium that night when you had the inter-sport match. I'm like, this is so great for Kyle, because to have these numbers to pick from and not having to rely on the norms. Do we feel that players are? Do you feel that in that camp, players are actually fighting for positions, or do they have that mentality of, I'm not going to make it anyway, I'm coming because I was invited? Did you see that? And can we expect to see some new faces based off of what you saw from that last Gold Cup team?
I mean, I think we have players, a mixture of all of it in Bermuda. Like, some of them may have come, they're not too sure what's going to happen. So that's why we want to see them for a longer period, so we can judge them properly. I think we're at the stage now where we're talking to them about their fitness. We have put everything on what we done in that short space of window. So we had a assessment, which was on the Saturday. We had a training session, which was on, I think, the Monday, another training session, or on the Wednesday, and another training session on the Friday. So we had it all videotaped. We everything that we done, or everything that we do, is videotaped. We have everything down on paper so players can see where they are as far as our little fitness assessment. Actually, that was on the holiday that we done it, the morning of the November the 11th. That's where we done the fitness assessment with players, and the feedback that we can give them, so they can go and on their own try and become better. Like you said with Liam Evans, he was top in every department. That's because he's been with us for a while and he knows what it takes to get to that level. And it's down to the individual to be able to raise themselves and want that, So I have to know and learn the players that I'm introducing into the pool. Not everybody's going to get selected, because we have overseas players. But if you show the right intent, then you have the opportunity of making the team. For instance, Reggie Lamb doesn't have a club, not been playing. So there's going to be local players way ahead of him right now.
Yes.
So, the opportunity is there for everyone. And that's why we have to start with the local players. And it would be ideally, going back to one of Mesia's first questions about if we can have those 2 matches prior to our first game to see who's ready, who's not. Those 2 games will not be about results. It will be about who's ready and who's not. Like the way I assess players.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Well,
I just want to ask
Coach, thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate you coming on and discussing what the national level, because obviously that's going to be the vital thing that we need to ensure that things are prepared. And obviously we want to get those other coaches on board as well, because we're going to need, as Punchy alluded to, what are the youngsters aspiring to as well. So we want to thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to speaking with you in the very near future.
And did you hear him, God?
Can you hear him?
No, I couldn't hear a word you said, Earl.
Can you hear me now?
No, he can't hear you.
We couldn't hear you.
I can hear you. Fine.
I can hear you quite well.
Well, one of you could repeat or say what he.
Kyle, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, we want to thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to you coming back again as we get closer to international duty, as well as other national team coaches that can kind of address what Punchy was alluding to with how these youngsters can get involved in the national programs and what's in store for them at those levels, because obviously we're going to have a lot of international football to be played at the under 17, under 15. Am I right, Keita?
Yes.
Correct.
And under 20s in the coming months. So, all right.
Yes.
Thanks,
you very
yeah.
much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Yes,
We're
Carl.
going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Jensen Rogers, the head coach of the Somerset Eagles. We'll be back.
We've already sung the praises of Welch's famous grape juice, so healthful and refreshing, a truly great family favorite. So with the festive season fast approaching, remember to stock up on Welch's sparkling juice cocktails, flavorful and thirst-quenching, another celebration of the greatness of the grape. The Welch's white, red, and rosé are all wonderful on their own, but for a special seasonal treat, try Welch's sparkling juice cocktail in festive punch recipes, garnished with cinnamon sticks or fresh cranberries. All non-alcoholic and also festive. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Joining us now, we have Jensen Rogers, the head coach of the Somerset Eagles. Good evening, Jensen. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, it's a little choppy, but I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Internet doesn't want to be quite friendly this evening.
Jensen,
You
you're clear.
guys have had a start of the season, probably not the one you wanted, but looking at evaluating the games you have played already, where do you think you need to go in order to change things around for the second half of the season?
Basically, we just need to find some consistency. We started off the season against Robin Hood, who was on form, right? They had a couple of games before they played us, and to tell you the truth, we took the lead against Robin Hood. We was up 1-0, but obviously with the quality that they had, the fitness, it all showed, and then they won the game 4-1. I think at the moment, well, we're going through some tough times. We just need to remain consistent, and not consistent in just playing a certain way, but consistent in coming training to get better. Right? So I feel a lot of times players, they want to do better, but they don't want to put in the work. So we need to have players coming out and putting in that work consistently to help us get out of this little spot that we're in right now.
Yeah. You mentioned you took the lead against Robin Hood. You also took the lead in your second game as well. You just couldn't seem to hold out the teams. But you look at the teams around you, and those are the teams that you want to kind of try to get points off of. Unfortunately, today would have been a match that you would have played St. George's. The association had to postpone all the matches today. But last week in your FA game, you managed to put together 3 goals. Unfortunately, you gave away 4. But looking at that, are you challenging your front runners a little more to get more than 1 goal a game, to get 2 and 3 a game?
Yeah, that's the goal, right? So we're looking to say, how can we be comfortable? And the way we're going to be comfortable is by being up by more than 1 goal. Yeah, because if it's 0-0 or 1-0, there's always a little life on the edge, right? 1 goal changes things. They always say 2-0 is probably the worst lead to have, but I'd rather have a 2-0 lead than a 0-0 draw or a 1-0 lead, right? So if we can score more than 1 goal every week, we always have a chance of coming away with something at least.
Yeah. Final question from me. What challenges have you found having a consistent back four and a goalkeeper?
Well, to tell you the truth, I probably rotated my goalkeeper and my back four in every match. In every match, if I've had the same goalkeeper, I haven't had the same back four. You know, so injuries, availability, it's played a part. You know, some guys have been away, some guys have been injured, some guys have been working. It's just where we are right now, right? So hopefully, in the coming games, we can get some consistency with the team selection and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Questions? Punchy?
Yeah, how you doing, sir? How are you?
That's
I think I talked to you a couple of weeks in that pouring rain, didn't I? Waited outside for 10 minutes. Yeah. Listen, Michael, yeah, I did. Anyway, I wish you the best. As always, you're a young coach. I don't remember you actually coaching before. So this is probably your first stint. Is that correct?
No, this is my my third year, actually, my third season with Eagles. I had him in first division, and then we came up. I had him last year in Premier, and now this is our second year.
Okay. There's two other questions I want to ask you. How has Gary Darrell helped? Because I see you seem like you guys have a good working relationship. Because when I was waiting also, I see Gary Darrell there. So just like most teams, I've already said this before, with young coaches, they definitely need, you definitely need somebody who's got your ear. Yeah, you look back and say, hey, what do you think we should be doing? So what does Gary Darrell bring to you? What has he taught you?
Well, obviously he brings a lot of experience and knowledge, right? So when it gets tight, when there's tight decisions to be made, you need somebody like Gary Darrell to kind of give you his view on things. So if we have players that's unavailable, he'll give me his take on who we do have, who's going to fill the void. But if it's a tight game, like that Village game, I believe you came to see, it was a 2-1 at the time, and we was discussing how we was going to change the game with substitution wise, and he has his ideas, I have mine, and then we try to find the best way of putting these together. But he is always the guy I can turn to and be like, this is what I'm thinking. Like I run across and like, this is what I'm thinking, this is where I'm going with this. What you think? And that's most 90% of the time he might say, I was thinking the same thing. Like, you're right on track, Yeah. Or he might say, all right, let's hold off. That might be premature. Let's hold off for a few minutes and see what happens, and then we can go to that decision. So it's just these small things like that.
Okay. The second question I have for you. I came to wait for the young man. I get it, Samir, or I forget his name.
Samari.
Zamari. Anyway, I find, just like I asked Kyle about these young players who I find him spot on as a wide player because I played in that position. What is his attitude like? What is he like? Because he seems to have a good attitude towards the game. And I always tell him his quality reminds me of as a wide player, he's spot on. But he's 18. I always tell him, I hope he gets to the national team. What do you find about him? Because I do, just like Somerset of the West End, I think he came from St. George's. Mm-hmm. And he's a big miss at St. George's. But it was such great to see such quality from him. What is he like?
He's very humble, but very fun and bubbly type of player. He's got bags of talent. He hasn't even reached the point where he's expressing it as much as I feel he should. But he's a very respectful person, and that's what you want to see from a younger player. Because sometimes, because I know I'm good, I've got some talent, I might have an ego about myself. So that's not with Samori. Samori is very coachable, he's very humble, and I'm just glad to have him. I worked with him before when he was under 14s, and I'm just glad to have him. He's a dream. And like you said, he's got so much talent, so much ability. I'm just glad that I got to work with him and try to help him reach his potential.
Good evening, Coach. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Coach?
I have a ton of respect for you in the sense that you are a punching above your weight. I think you're the only team in the Premier League that doesn't have a youth program, correct? And you're competing with Somerset, who have a thriving youth program. You have to kind of create your success. I know it's going to be a struggle if you're with your players because there's no one coming behind, really. You can't go and watch your under 20, you can't go watch your PDL, you can't go watch the under 17 team play. The same young man that my uncle's speaking about, I believe he plays for St. George's under 17s.
Yeah.
Is that the same one? Yeah. So, you got to kind of push out your talented younger players into other teams in the hopes that they don't end up going to those teams to continue to make their team strong. So I don't really have any questions for you, but just to encourage you to keep working because you have a lot of work to do. If you're not getting top of the top players, you're constantly going to be battling week in and week out. And I just want to encourage you to stay strong because it's work, and you have a passion for it. You have a desire. and we don't have, we need that in our coaches. You're a role model for this young man, and they understand that they have to work. They understand that you're out there, you're doing what it is you have to do, and it's a part-time job, but you do have your work cut out for you because you've got competition, on the side of you. You got Rangers, you got PAC, you got Somerset, and you're smack there in the middle, just trying to make things happen week in and week out. So I just want to keep encouraging you and yeah, do what you gotta do, buddy.
Thanks.
Jensen, over the summer, you were able to get a few signing ins. How have they helped to improve the program, the guys that you brought into the team thus far in the season?
Tremendously, really. I'll speak of one, Kadeem Abraham. I got him from PHC. So my thinking behind Kadeem was I need to bring in somebody who's been in the league for a minute, somebody who's came from a winning culture. PAC at that time was winning the friendships and stuff like that, the league, and somebody who has a ton of respect for the game. So he's going to put in the extras. He's going to be there for every preseason training, every preseason game. Somebody just who's a leader, a role model. So my thinking behind bringing him, even though he's over the age of 30, and he was looking at a couple of young guys, I said, I need to bring in somebody that I can look at and say, okay, I know I got some consistency from him. And he's helped the other guys be consistent. Koshan Durant, Dupre Joe, he's helped these guys to be consistent because he's shown them like, hey, this is what it takes if you want to stay in this league. This is what it takes. You want to play, this is the work that's got to be put in.
Okay.
How about yourself? Because I know you could still lace them up, but how have you ever said to yourself, listen, I may need to go out there and try to settle things down at times, but then the reminder comes, hey, I don't recover as quickly as I used to?
That would be my only issue is the recovery. It's the recovery time is not like it was before. But yeah, I'll keep that Benny card in my back pocket.
Yeah. Okay.
You
I can
might
actually
have to play it right after Christmas.
yeah. If I can ask you another question. Again, what Keita was talking about, your junior program seems to be lacking there. So what have you got plans? Because I know you also, you're a two-full club like St. George's, play cricket also.
Yes.
So what are in terms of your development for even the younger players that you got playing? Is there some type of program that you would design for them to do in the summer, even if it's a tournament or just other training? What do you have anything in mind that maybe? I just think that's what's happening in the country as a whole. When the summer time comes in, I'm just reflecting on my history. Cricket was not my game. I'll go watch it, but it wasn't my game. So what my brothers and I, thank for them, we used to always be training twice a week, even in summertime. So right. What are you got planned for the development, added to what Keita's saying, in terms of your development for the players that you have? Because I think you got a good crop of good young new players there. But I still don't think, what are your plans for the summer?
Hopefully, we can get some indoor something going, right? Just to keep the football culture going at the club. I think indoors are a perfect thing to do as something different, but still keeping them involved. You don't want to play them outside in the sun during the summer, obviously, but you also want to get some good use out of the players. So I think if we could get the bunch, at least even if it's not the 20 players or the 18, even if it's just 10, we could get them consistently being around each other and continue to develop, that by the time preseason doors start, they already got a little head start, and then they can take that right into the season.
Oh, okay. I'm adding to what my Keita said about I applaud you. A lot of you young coaches, it takes you are the future of the country and development players. So it's gonna take a lot. It takes a lot. It takes trust me, I did this when I was your age too. And I did. When I was first getting the job in North Village. It wasn't all. I just happened to had some good players. So, organization was good. But I like the organization, what you're trying to achieve. I saw the players dressing. I've always been a follower of that. If like the way the players were dressed, the way they were organized, even though the game was a bad, I was really impressed. I think Bermuda needs more of that. So, again, I applaud you for the challenges that you face. And so, just keep it up. Our coaches, we guys always talk, me and Keita, even with Earl, about leadership in the clubs. I don't think, when I looked at your team the other day, you don't have a whole lot of seniority in your team, just one North Village player, right? But yeah. But the point is your seniority. So you're starting with a young team. So I wish you the best. Just, it's good for the country. I think you're heading in the right direction. Your dedication is most important. And I applaud you, even for being on the show.
Thanks.
All right. Well, Coach, I want to thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you. Good luck for the remainder of the season. Hopefully we can get you back the second half of the season and you're having a better time at it. And your players kind of respond and get you on a little roll, except for when you play St. George's.
I was hoping we was going to get 3 points today from St. George's. So come on and talk about.
COVID actually put that to the wayside for you. So next time we play, it's going to be 3 points for St. George's.
I didn't have you on to be on, but anyway.
Thanks.
This message from our sponsor. We'll be back.
Yep, thank you.
Coconut oil has been popular here in Bermuda as a skin moisturizer for generations, but is sometimes avoided in cookery because of its unhealthy reputation. We've witnessed a change in attitudes as recent findings indicate that coconut oil is actually heart healthy and can enhance our immune systems, increase metabolism, energy and endurance, and improve digestion. Nutiva coconut oil is a superfood in its own right, and this month we're featuring Nutiva organic shortening made with organic coconut and red palm oils and also hemp seed oils. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Now I guess it's time to discuss that match yesterday, or the two matches yesterday. We'll start with the one that I know I have two people on the screen who are smiling because they picked the team that won but are upset with the team that lost. Did I say it right?
Yeah. Sometimes you got to go with your head over your heart, mate.
No, Keita, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna start off with Punchy because Keita, listen, I watched the actions of this young man yesterday at PHC Stadium, and other than just getting a straight jacket, it was close to that because
I know.
Was trying to figure things out.
No.
But he is on the wrong side of the field.
I mean, I'm sorry, Earl. I mean, Keita. I mean, young people gonna make no. I mean, no. Anyway, Earl, let me say what. And I had a talk with Kenny after this, sir. Okay. The senior players, yes, again, Norfolk senior players at the back five. I think I did say it. Yeah. They were so poor, Keita. You won't believe the mistakes that was I was like, what is this?
Yeah, basic mistakes.
Yeah, the mistakes at the senior level, the leadership at the senior level, which must have been disappointing for Kenny. I'm not gonna call them by names, but I would name the whole back five. The back five were like really lethargic. I'm telling it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a senior season, though.
Yeah, this is a senior team with supposed to be responsible senior players at the back, and I'm gonna draw comparisons. Like when I first came in at 16 years old, I was protected by my brother Joe Trott. You're talking about senior players that were responsible and cutting down on mistakes. What I saw yesterday is like, what is this? And I saw you showed on my face. So I'm not gonna call by names. And then the spine of the team. Now, the center midfielder gave away 2 goals. I'm not gonna call his name away. Just I'm like, what, so the mistakes, and his senior too. The center midfielder was giving the ball away, just unbelievable. I wasn't worried about the 2 wide players. Those are young players. Such a great goal scored by Mr. Richardson too. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't believe how much control, how easy it was for PHC. And so my concern for Kenny, and I said to Kenny, my concern is that your senior players are playing like at such a low level and know what the inconsistency. And you're asking 2 wide junior players like Keith's son to do some magic? No, I was like, I was furious, but I understand. Like Keita says, I understand. We're still developing. Even though we won the league last year, there's still a development stage. I could pick them apart. Every player at the back. There was 4 players at the back. If I was coaching against them, yeah, they would really be under tremendous pressure.
But if you
which
look at it,
PHC done.
PHC done. That's what PHC
That's
done.
right.
If you looked at it, they were allowing the defenders to get the ball, but then shot closing them down, and they were basically just giving the ball away because they lacked the knowledge of where their next pass was going to be. When they had the time and the space, if you looked at it, not most of the time they were knocking the ball long, but when they were closing it down and they had to kind of find a pass, they were giving the ball away. So once PHC realized it was working, they kept capitalizing on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, not taking away from the talent of PHC. Keyshawn Bean is an amazing young talent. Enrique Russell, again, talented young players. Some homework has to be done. Again, I spoke about it earlier with Kyle. Where is the passion? And I said, my dad came home yesterday. When he left the house to go to the game, it was already 1-0. He was like, okay, fair enough. By the time he came back, we spent some time talking. And to the point it ended where he said, can you just tell me when the girls are playing? I'm going to come watch the girls play. He spoke of like the lack of basic skills. He was like, these guys can't take the ball out there. They can't open their body. They can't play through the lines. He was just like, I can't even get into the tactical side of the game because they're so behind technically, and he's like, I feel for Kenny because the quality of players, he doesn't have the quality of the players. Maybe 1 or 2, but then they're gonna carry a team. But my fear is that those few quality players are gonna be like, I can't do this week in and week out. I gotta go somewhere where I'm gonna have fun playing. This is amateur football, but I don't want to be stressed each week. I'm young. I'm playing overseas. Young Jared Richardson. What he's gonna say. If his heart is at North Village, remember we're not in a time anymore where loyalty is huge. It's not.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Outside of like a PAC, where like there's a PAC people. Not many of our teams are strictly players from the country, from their parents coming through. We used to be that at North Village, but that's not the case anymore. So when were these guys, how do we become intrinsically motivated? So that was the conversation I had with my dad, was that my girls are intrinsically motivated. So my girls want to get better because getting better is going to make things happen for them. My girls are not showing up to training, and my girls are not playing football because someone's giving them something. They want to get better. They want this game. They love this game enough. Do our men love football enough? No, you're not all going to make the national team, and it's okay. It's okay. But there are other things that can happen for you through football. And it breaks my heart. I honestly haven't watched North Village play yet. I am going to get to a match. But, my uncle and I have conversations every week about just the level of football. And we do speak of North Village. And I get it. Like, they lost Troy Tucker. They lost Keyshawn Bean at a good fitness level. That's 2 big losses. No matter how you look at it, that's 2 huge. One who was a contender for MVP for the league, and another that is just a very talented and amazing player. So, we're not the only ones. What happened to the other players around them? The PHC lost to Corey Robinson and Trey Mead, talented, amazing players, but they figured it out. Now, Kenny, when you go to the now, what's the conversation? I want to know what's the conversation with the players now. What's the conversation after yesterday's loss? What are you saying to the players? What are you gonna say now? Hey, guys, do the players have it in themselves to look within themselves, to understand within themselves, God, or is it, let me just point some fingers. Let me point some fingers. It's okay to point fingers. Arsenal did it just the other day. They had a blowout. Coach had to say. He left the room. He let the Arsenal players point fingers at each other. They lost enough today to Tottenham. But so what? Our players in Bermuda mature enough to understand that you're the reason that this is happening. Our girls have those conversations. And they understand it's football related. It's not personal. You know? Be able to give instructions. Be able to take it. Be able to give criticism. Be able to take it. That's the only way you're going to grow as a team. Because if there's any separation in that area, training numbers are going to drop. Attitudes are going to be horrible. You're barely be fielding the team, and that's not a good look for a club like North Village with its history. So I think that some real deep inward thinking has to happen. There needs to be a meeting. It has to be a meeting. I don't know if it's the next training session, or I don't know how things are going with this COVID. It could be Zoom. It could be something. But they have to have a meeting to figure it out, because if not, it's not going to be a pretty second half. And we're going to just be for the taking. So.
But Errol, let me, if I could say, let's not take nothing from PHC. Mr. Coach Hart Jr., I think, Coach Hart Jr., Coach Hart Jr. He's doing a pretty good job. He's a young coach too, isn't he? He's just starting out.
I know you would have been impressed, Punchy, because they were playing on closer to us in the first half with young Corey Booth, Marco Warren, and their link up, as well as Keyshawn Bean. They worked well together in short little areas to work themselves out of danger areas. You know, it's almost like they understood everything the next person was going to do, and it just seemed so easy for them. So obviously the coaching staff as well as the players have decided this is how we're going to do it, because if you look at it, all of them are probably all just what less than 5 feet, so they're not going to win the ball in the air. You know what I mean? So they have to try and keep the ball to their strength, which is at their feet, and they're willing to work hard for each other. You saw Corey Booth make a sliding tackle. You know, when a guy almost had a breakaway, he kind of came from behind in a sliding tackle. Marco Warren done the same thing. You had the ball cleared off the line. You know, when North Village almost scored in that. You know, so these guys are willing to work for one another, and I think that's what helped them over the line yesterday. And if that continues, they can kind of be a silent. I don't think they have what it takes to win the league with the squad yet, with the lack of maturity, but that will come in time.
Well, let's Peter. North Village had 2 shots on goal, they only had 2 shots on goal in the 56th minute. North Village only had 2 shots on goal, so that means they weren't creating the chances. I think halftime North Village could have done at least 3-1 or 4-1 easy. Easy. But again, it's getting back to again about what I like about PHC. And I saw this against Devonshire Cougars, even though they lost 3-1. The second half, they totally dominated the game. They just never finished out that Devonshire. I'm going back about a month ago.
Right.
I said, there's something about this team. They fight the young, right? They're still missing seniority in certain parts. I know that's what when they really got against Robin Hood, that's what we'll really find out just with the. And it seems to be like that a lot in this country now, except Norfolk is a senior team. And they're still not, the seniors are not doing what I think they should do. But against a team like PHC, it was pleasant on the eye at times.
Yeah.
And I stand in Carl Lightboy, but you don't go from back to front no more in it. You don't, like they trying to play. And so, anyway, my point is that, again, you know, I'm glad for these young coaches. The information they're giving to these young players, and I was, you know, I'm glad. Well, hey, PHC, and I said to you, I just thought that's it. PHC is going to win this game, and it was proven right. That's right.
Yeah.
The other match, you had a comment, Keita?
Yeah, I was saying I watched PHC. I've watched them once. I watched the Devonshire Colts match, and you know, I could see that they were heading in the right direction. They're going to be an amazing team. Again, they're friends and family playing for each other, and not necessarily by blood, but you know, they've been over at that T.N. Tatum's field for years together. They know each other, so they're going to fight for each other. And like you said, they're young. When they start to dominate, I don't see how anybody. And they have a fantastic farming system. So I don't see teams should just take advantage of the fact that right now they're building. They're building post Scott Morton era, because once they start to dominate, I don't see I can't see anyone taking it from them. They're gonna have a good run, and it's not far. It could happen as much as next season. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's still gonna be the team to watch.
yeah, definitely. The other match that was played yesterday was a first division match, and this particular team has come on in leaps and bounds, and that's Vasco, who defeated Wolves down at Garrison Field 4-2. Vasco now are being coached by Gary Adams. I don't think he's lost yet since he's taking over the reins, but they seem like they've got a second win, and then they're now picking up points. They get that they're. I can't call them contenders to try and get into that mix for promotion, but I think for themselves, they're doing what they done last season and surprising a lot of teams by picking up points.
He's got, well, yeah, I always say, I think I said this before. You got to look at his father. Yeah, who his father is. Yeah,
Right.
From BA. Oh, yeah, I played against him. Yeah, the father. So let's say the son is like asking father questions. They might have this, but I knew since you said who was taking over Vasco, that there's going to be a bit more, you're going to find a little bit more organization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how father coming, I haven't seen him play under Mr. Adams, but I'm sure that you're not going to find an easy game against them now.
Right.
No, you won't. And that's us, organization, attention to detail.
Right. The good thing is he's had his time in and around the national program, and seeing how Kyle and Ray and his guys, as well as Keaton, prepare teams. So he's taken those experiences to that club level and just try to make them understand that this is what we need to do in order to stay compact, to stay in a game, and so forth. And I've seen them play now 3 times this year, and I've been impressed the last 2 times I've seen them play, because the messages coming from the bench side now are more to keep the team in order, because when they were playing Island Rangers and the game got a little easy towards the end, you could see guys trying to do things that were not the norm. And the coach quickly reminded them that, hey, one goal and then right back in it, and then we're panicking kind of thing. So stay focused and so forth. So you could see it's a little different messages coming from the bench now. And I think when they come up against the teams at the topper level of the first division, that will be their test. The Hamilton Parishes, the Boulevards, and so forth. I was a bit looking forward to that Hamilton Parish Flanagan's game, because Hamilton Parish just coming off of that 1-1 draw with Island Rangers, and I know they would want to get back to the winning ways as quickly as possible. But we have to wait to see what the association is going to be allowed to do in the coming weeks, as far as football will be played over the Christmas break, because we don't know what this pandemic is going to do as far as allowing people the freedom that they've had all this time.
Yeah, well, for me, with Vasco, just knowing Gary, knowing him for a while, I'm sure the players have bought into what it is he is trying to do. I don't even know who the coach was before. I don't know what the credentials were.
Brian Dickinson.
Okay, but as you said, he's been in and around football for a while. He has a definite passion for it, and he's definitely a student of the game. So I know that they have bought into what it is he's trying to do. And 2 victories on the trot, that's enough to elevate a team, right? Especially if you were kind of losing to teams that you shouldn't have lost to. Now to be winning games, there's a different feel. You can't deny that. And in any team, your winning is a different feel in and around the club. I bet you his numbers are good. I bet you guys are doing hard in training. It's probably made everyone understand that, listen, no one has a spot. You have to earn your spot in this team. And so that makes players play a little bit harder. So, I think that he's going to do well. I think that come the end, they're going to be up there amongst the best of them.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we've come to the end of this show. If the association are going to resume matches next week, we will have a pre-show and make our picks. But until we know what the deal is for the next few weeks, we'll leave it as it is. But we will continue with Sunday shows. We'll be back next Sunday, at 6 p.m. with another edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I want to thank
What's
you
the
guys again
scores?
tonight.
Where we at? What's the
What's that?
scores? What's the scores? Did we get points for this weekend?
Yes, we got points for this weekend because there were 2 matches played. We all took PHC.
Yes.
And we all took Vasco. So right now, Maceo moved to 35. Keita, you're on 34. Danica and I on 33, and Punchy's on 32. So everybody's tight.
I'm telling you, I don't took Maceo this week. I'd have took Maceo this week, I think.
Well, the only difference between you and Maceo was the St. George's Colts Somerset Eagles match.
Oh, he picked something.
Maceo took a draw. You took St. George's.
So
you'd have won. You'd have caught him.
I'd have took it. All right, guys, have a good night.
All right, enjoy the rest of your evening, folks. Yes. We'll be back next week Sunday with another edition of the Island Stats Football Show. Have a good night.
Every resident of Bermuda deserves to spend their final days with dignity. They also deserve access to privacy for themselves and their loved ones. Although Agape House has lovingly wrapped its arms around thousands of patients and their families, it can no longer meet the needs of our community. There is an urgent need for a new facility, and we need your help to make that happen. Donate today by going to agiftforagape.com or calling 232-0859. Help give Agape House a new home. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?